Jesus who loves the children and youth. When we read what it teaches, we can receive heaven's truth. It tells us that the God above has a plan for this lost world. It tells us that this God of love cares for each boy and girl. I believe what Jesus says to me. I believe in the Bible.
Hi kids, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm his sister Michelle.
You are watching our program, I Believe, where we are learning all the basic beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
And what are we learning about today?
Today we're going to talk about how our world was created during 7 days of creation. All three members of the Godhead participated in this wonderful work. The book of Job says that other beings were also watching the creation of our world, and that they shouted for joy when the foundations of the earth were laid.
I didn't know that. How exciting to see a new world being made.
On the first day, we see that as soon as God said, "Let there be light," light immediately began to shine. The universe is voice activated by God's words, and the creation of light shows us the power of His word.
On the second day, God separated the water on the earth from the water in the sky, which we know as clouds. This is how He created the atmosphere, or the air we breathe.
On the third day, the earth went from looking mostly blue with water to having patches of brown soil coming out of the water. Those areas soon changed into spring green and millions of other colors as they were quickly covered by grass and blooming flowers, shrubs, trees, and other vegetations.
It must have been so beautiful. Well, we know that creation had to have been 7 literal days. Since the sun was created on day 4 of creation, all those plants could not have survived for long without the sun. He also made the moon, planets, and stars on that day. By this time, the world must have looked very pretty, but it was also very quiet. You could only hear the gentle sounds of the water and the wind blowing through the trees.
And then it was time for God to speak again on the 5th day. Suddenly the skies were filled with birds calling, all types of birds such as hummingbirds, ostriches, ducks, eagles, so much variety. And if we looked to the sea, we could see all types of fish, dolphins, great whales swimming and leaping out of the water.
When the 6th day arrived, the entire world seemed to stir into life. I can imagine lions grazing in the field with sheep, leopards and goats resting side by side, monkeys swinging from tree branches where squirrels and chipmunks are playing tag.
But the 6th day was not over yet. God the Son, Jesus, then knelt down next to the soil and shaped man, until he was a perfect statue, motionless on the ground. Then he breathed into his nose the breath of life, and man came alive.
But Adam noticed he was the only human, even though the animals all came in pairs. So God put Adam into a deep sleep and did the first surgery. He removed one of his ribs and used it to make Adam's wife, Eve. That's when Jesus performed the first wedding and pronounced them man and wife. How romantic!
And did you know that at the end of each day, Jesus said it was good, and on the final day of creation, he said it was very good. On the 7th day, he rested from his work and spent the day with Adam and Eve. The Sabbath was a special gift for the new couple and all of humanity. They would work for 6 days, but every 7th day they would spend with Jesus. And every Sabbath they could remember the wonderful work that God had done during creation week.
And that's what our sentence talks about this week. What do I believe about creation? God created the earth in 6 literal days and rested on the 7th day, establishing the Sabbath as a memorial of His work.
God created the earth in 6 literal days and rested on the 7th day. God created establishing the Sabbath as a memorial of his work, establishing the Sabbath as a memorial of his work. God created the earth in 6 literal days and rested on the seventh day.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did anyone ever ask you that question? Did the egg hatch the first chicken? Or did the chicken lay the first egg? Well, the Bible says God made every kind of bird, so the answer is the chicken came first. Now you know.
The law of conservation of mass says that matter in the universe cannot be created or destroyed. So how did creation happen? Well, God created everything in the universe. He is not limited by the law of conservation of mass, since he invented it. God speaks a command and matter comes into existence.
We don't think God created heaven, which is his home, during creation week. So why does the Bible say he created the heavens and the earth? And what about all those stars billions of light years away? Genesis 1 and 2 are probably describing our solar system only, which has to be placed exactly as it is, so that life can exist on earth.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was with God. The Word was with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God. All things were made by Him, and without Him nothing was made. All things were made by Him, and without Him nothing was made. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was with God. The Word was with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God. John chapter 1 and 3.
Today, I'm going to demonstrate what it must have been like during the creation of man. Here are the materials we need: a dry erase marker, a plate, and a cup of water. So, I will draw a man on the plate and add the water to see what happens. It must have been so amazing to see God form man and breathe in him the breath of life.
In the beginning, God, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
bees make honey. And you also know that honey is a very sticky liquid. So how do bees store it without making a giant mess in their hive? That is one of the important functions of the honeycomb. And where does honeycomb come from? The bees make it themselves. Certain worker bees eat plenty of honey and then make tiny flakes of clear wax from special glands on their abdomens. These flakes are then used to build honeycomb. Some wasps build their nests made out of paper. They don't make or store honey like honeybees do, but they do need nests when they lay their eggs and raise their young. But where does the paper to build these nests come from? The wasps make it themselves. The wasps chew fibers from dead wood or other plants into a paste that they use to build their nest. Of course, the fibers the wasps use may not all come from the same place or be the same color. This explains why the paper nests are sometimes so colorful. Caddisflies are a group of insects that have water larvae, and during their larva stage, many of them live in special tube-shaped cases. But where do these cases come from? The caddisfly larvae make the cases themselves using silk made by special glands near their mouth. And they often use other materials such as sand or other small pieces of rock, many kinds of plant material, or other bits of trash. All these animals and many others as well make things. But they can only make these things using other things that already exist. Humans can make a great many things too. But just like the animals, we have to use other things that already exist. But God is different. He can create things just by speaking. He is not dependent on things that already exist. The Bible says that He spoke and it was done. Psalms 33:9. And that's just what happened during Creation Week.
By faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. By faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. Hebrews 11 verse 3.
We hope you had fun learning new songs about creation.
Try to learn all the verses by memory every week. We will share more with you next week.
Establishing the Sabbath as a memorial of His work. God created